I'm Emanuel Kuntzelman, President, co-founder of Greenheart International, also of the Fundacion por el Futuro, Foundation for the Future. Greenheart is located in Chicago, Illinois, Foundation for the Future in Madrid, Spain. I am also the initiator of the Global Purpose Movement, and I will have a bit more to say about purpose here as the talk goes on. It's a great pleasure to be here. Christopher, Irvin, Fred, the Tri-Center Initiative for New Paradigm Leaders. It's really an honor to be able to open this session today on what does the new paradigm mean for business and management. At Greenheart, we have over 400 employees and independent contractors working in 50 states in the United States. We also have partnerships in 97 countries with 250 partners around the world. Our vision and mission is to connect people and planet through fair trade, cultural exchange, volunteer service, environmentalism, and personal development. We have a very interesting undertaking, but the success and real dynamic flow of that is primarily due to my lovely wife, Laura, who is the CEO of the operation, and I certainly owe due credit, almost all the credit, to my more beautiful, charming half, who really makes that flow happen. I personally tend to be the more philosophical side of this. Actually, I would identify myself as, shall we say, a part-time philosopher, a would-be physicist, a wannabe cosmologist, and you put all that together and I moonlight as a social entrepreneur and businessman as well. So kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. Maybe that's a real formula for failure, but I often think, you know, in the business world, if you really do come up with not that much, you can always save yourself by becoming a motivational speaker. So with that ignominious introduction, here we go. I would like to say a few words then about my wannabe ambitions as a cosmologist, since we are trying to make a transition here from the incredible new paradigm research and studies that we've heard about over the last few days into the business world. It's very important for me to set the perspective. So I'm going to take us on a brief tour of our 14 billion year history of human civilization, a whistle-stop tour through the highlights of consciousness. In the beginning, something happened, often referred to as a Big Bang. I don't really like that term. It sounds very messy and materialistic. Since we are in Italy, I'd like to denominate that. Perhaps Italian physicist Paolo Risi referred to it as the Big Wow. Sir James Jeans once said the universe is much more like a thought than a machine, and Paolo Rossi said, well, it was like the Big Wow. And there we have it. Consciousness burst forth in light, bringing itself into being. And you know, the universe, as we've seen over the last few days, is a wave. Irvin made this clear. David referred to Walter Russell, who said all of creation is a wave. The wave theory goes way back, all the way to the Hermetic tradition. 4,000 BC, Hermes Trismegistus talked about the nature of the wave. The first words of the Kabbalion, of the Hermetic tradition, said, all is vibration. Everything moves. So that we knew 6,000 years ago. And the wave continues to move. and it descended into materialistic reality until it came to the first great turn and life appeared. And then it ascended through a negentropic process, developing plants, animals, and behold, at the top of the wave again, human consciousness. And then it descended again into another materialistic dive, which has been the history of our civilization, till we are at another trough of the wave. The perspective here is we're in the fourth biggest moment in the history of the universe. Native Americans, and I know we did a Cherokee opening this morning, Native Americans said there have been 3 great miracles in the history of the universe. The beginning, that big wow, the appearance of life, the appearance of human consciousness. And I say, as an amateur cosmologist, this is the 4th big miracle. And we're right smack dab in the midst of it. And that is so critically important, not only for us to understand the new paradigm, but to us to understand this as business people too. Because this isn't just an important time or a critical moment in our civilization. This is it. Like it's never been before and never will be again. This is the bifurcation of human civilization happening right now, and we're part of it. And if we really take that and grasp it deeply, we begin to understand how meaningful, how important this moment is for us and what we can do with business and management to really make a difference in the world and see it as our moral obligation to give back to the world. So that's where we are. And as we approach business from that point of view, it sheds a whole new light on what business is about. If we take a look at the classical bottom line, let's analyze that a minute. You know, throughout most of capitalist history, it was about profit. But there are other P's we can add to that bottom line. People, planet, and purpose to begin with. Now, people and planet, that's pretty trendy. Even Greenheart says, you know, connecting people and planet. Fossil fuel companies have a lot of information about how green they are. I mean, it sounds very good, but how deeply can you really get into and care about the people, not only in your organization, but who you're servicing, and what it means for an impact on the planet. And then, more importantly, that 4th P word, purpose. In the course of this wave, which is a grand flow of music, really, as Stuart told us, consciousness is more like an orchestra than a computer. Pythagoras said material reality is music frozen in time. It is the flow of music. And it goes through octaves, 7 stages. And in one of the great stages of human development was the appearance of the axial age, which was referred to the other day by Stephen Schwartz, I believe. And in this enlightenment moment of the axial age, along with Lao Tzu and Buddha and all the other great traditions coming into being, also in ancient Greece, there were a couple of philosophers who got this call. One of them was Socrates, who wanted to analyze life. And he said, an unexamined life isn't worth living. Aristotle, who wanted to have one up on Socrates, said, a life without purpose isn't worth examining. And so this purpose, that is really what our bottom line is all about. You know, there's something out there that the pharmaceutical companies would really love to get their hands on. It's free, and it'll reduce the risk of Alzheimer's and cardiovascular disease and diabetes by up to 30 or 40%. It'll increase your longevity by 30 or 40%. It'll decrease your cortisol, and it'll increase your dopamine and serotonin, and it's free. and it's called purpose. Purpose really drives the universe, and that is the main point of our bottom line. If we've got purpose, and we're delivering that purpose, and we feel it within ourselves, then all those other P's quickly fall into place. And you know, profit, there's nothing wrong with profit. It's what do you do with that profit? We run a not-for-profit organization. A lot of people, when I introduce myself and say, oh, I'm the president of a not-for-profit organization, and their immediate reaction is, oh, my condolences. Oh, that's too bad. They visualize us as begging for money for donations. We are a dynamic business organization. We are a 501c3 charitable institution. We have no shareholders. We pay no dividends. And we regenerate all of that profit into the organization, building more programs, not worrying about that part of the bottom line, but doing what's right for the planet and the people. That is the kind of profit we are looking for. And as we do so, maybe a few words about sales too, and marketing. I often say, you know, if we don't spend really any money on marketing, we've gotten rid of our marketing department. We have a Dove department. It's development, outreach, visibility, and engagement. That markets who we are. And sales. If we have the 4P bottom line on our sales, trying to keep it simple, profit, people, planet, and above all, purpose, let's have the AAA analysis of sales. Abundance. Abundance. That really changes this paradigm. If we think in terms of abundance, it's no longer a social Darwinian struggle for scarcity and resources and competition amongst other organizations. It's tapping into the abundance of the universe, that wave of energy that permeates everything and fills us with hope and vision and energy going forward. And if we come from abundance, it really changes our perspective on sales. Second A, authenticity. Being ourselves. Understanding that flow of consciousness. Understanding that we are a field of information. Sharing it non-locally with others all the time. That is authentic. That's who we are. And the third A, attachment, or better said, the lack thereof. If you go into a sale and you are not attached to the outcome, it really affects people. They feel that. They know that you are authentically representing the abundance of your soul with no attachment to the outcome. Stephen Schwartz said the other day in his beautiful description, he said in one of the 7 transformational laws of leaders was being willing not to get credit for the outcome. So if you're a salesman and you don't want to get credit, you just want to authentically represent the abundance of your purpose to the person you're meeting, they'll buy your product. They'll believe in you. They'll know that you not only represent that quadruple bottom line, you represent a quintuple bottom line. Because there's one more P down there, and that's passion. And I will say this in closing. All you wonderful people, the brilliant ideas you're contributing here, we're in this for 7 generations or more into the future, as the Native Americans often said. We are in this in the most critical moment of all of human civilization to save the world, literally. This is what we're doing. And now, 20, 30, 40 years from now in the future, when historians look back on this moment and see this, and maybe your grandchildren are out there, and they say, where were you in the Great Transition? What did you do, Grandpa, at that moment? And you can say, I was there. I was on the cutting edge. I was the conductor of that orchestra of consciousness. I was riding the wave. I was on my board. The super coherent wave of all these waves of business and management combining together into purpose. I was there. I was leading the way. Tell your grandchildren that. Tell it with passion. Find your purpose. Go on and save the world. Thank you.